welcome, Peter Shaw. You're living in Tynron. So we're really
Correct.
great that you're going to talk to us today. You're going to teach us how to calculate our personal carbon footprint, which is awesome. My first question to you of three, Peter, it's a little bit obnoxious. We're talking about calculating our personal carbon footprint. Why bother?
Yeah, good question. I suppose my reason is to find out how our personal lifestyles impact on climate change or global warming, carbon emissions, call it what you will. You need to measure it to be able to manage it if you wanted to reduce it. And also, it's a way of taking responsibility for one's own actions in everyday life. We usually keep records of our finances and our bank accounts. I think in the modern world, we're going to have to start keeping accounts of our carbon consumption. That's why we should bother, I think.
Okay, you've convinced me. Perfect. So, how do we look into it? Calculating your personal carbon footprint, it seems quite tricky. Can you talk us through a really basic calculation?
So, first step, just talking about electricity, find out where your meter is and start taking a note of the numbers on the meter. And you want to try and do that, say, for a period of time, say a month. So, first day of the month, last day of the month, take a note of the two figures, deduct one from the other, and that's how much you've consumed. And electricity is in a unit called kilowatt hours, but we don't need to get into that. You can find out the amount of carbon in tons per kilowatt hour, either by looking on the internet, on the web. There's lots of environmental sites, some government sites, or even really your electricity supplier. And that's how I started it. I'm with Scottish Power. I looked to their website, burrowed into it, asked a few questions and got the information. So those are two figures you need: the quantity of electricity you're using and the amount of carbon that's in it. Multiply the two together and you've got a carbon tonnage per kilowatt hour.
Right, I've been trying to hide her, but we've got we've got Penpunt's youngest energy champion has made a surprise appearance into today's video. So, right now, next question number 3. How can an individual become carbon neutral?
That's a bit more difficult. Well, you can consume less, you can travel less, you can reduce wasted electricity by being more energy efficient. If you really want to, you can go veggie. We're down to simple stuff, such as planting trees. But it's not just 1 or 2 trees, it's quite a lot of trees. You can't all do it yourself, because not everybody has a garden or space. There are projects now around the country where people are planting trees on a big basis on rewilding projects. Quite a few here in Scotland, some in the Lake District, some down south of England. So you could contribute to those by going there with your labour and plant trees yourself, or you could help to fund them.
Yeah, that's definitely some really useful food for thought, Peter. And it's not just about a feel-good factor, right? It's actually about contributing to local, regional, and global targets. Okay, your quick-fire lockdown questions, okay? Now, first one. Which item in your home could you not live without while you're in lockdown?
This, my mobile phone. It does everything for me. I do everything on it. I can calculate my carbon footprint on here if I wish.
Okay, number 2. If you could only eat one thing for the next 3 weeks, what would it be?
That's a really hard one. I could be flippant and say chocolate, but I'm going to be more serious and say, thinking long and hard, eggs.
Yes, you've got to be sensible about it. We've got a long time to get through yet. Well done.
I can live off omelettes, boiled eggs, scrambled eggs, so on and so forth.
Great stuff. Well, that's wonderful to know. Thank you very much, Peter.